Hi again folks, welcome back to Meaningful Money. I'm still on my log. Now, we've begun to talk now about building our financial plan, having put the right foundations and stuff in place. And we talked last time about pensions, savings and investments, the three very broad terms which are going to make up the building blocks of our financial plan. So we're going to talk about savings today. Now, I'm assuming that you've seen the video back in the principles section about having an emergency fund. Actually, was that foundations? Can't quite remember. Look on the website or search for emergency fund and you'll find it. I'm assuming that you've watched that video and done exactly what I've said, and that you've got a useful amount of money in a short-term bank account that you can get at if emergency strikes. So if the boiler blows up, or you I don't know, absolutely have to change the car or whatever, that there's money put aside for that. Savings, when we talk about savings, we're talking about short-term money, and by that really I mean less than 5 years. And because it's less than 5 years, savings money must be held in cash. Now again, I don't mean physical cash, wads of notes under your mattress. What I mean is bank accounts. So stay away, when it comes to short-term money, stay away from the stock market or anything which can go up and down. Alright? First thing, very important to understand when we're talking about cash. So what kind of accounts are there? What kind of accounts could you use to store your savings money? Well, at the basic level, we've got instant access accounts. Maybe even with a cash card you can draw money out. I'm not talking about a current account which won't pay you any interest, but an instant access savings account which will pay you just a little bit more than no interest. Currently anything 0.1, 0.2%, something, but not a great deal. So you've got instant access accounts and the online versions of those, where sometimes the interest rate is slightly higher because you can't deal with those accounts in a branch. Instant access online. The next step up, if you like, is notice accounts, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day notice accounts, where you can't access your money for that period of time, or you can, but you would lose the interest payable in that time. Again, because there's a delay in your ability to access your money, there's a slightly higher interest rate payable quite often. Next on the ladder, we've got fixed term bonds, very often they're called, or fixed term accounts, where you lock up your money for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years or more. And then, as a bit of a aside to all of those, we've got a cash ISA, which currently is a tax-free savings account, but which has a maximum amount you can put in any 1 year. So those are the different kinds of accounts you can put your savings money in, and the difference between them primarily is the amount of time it can take you to get your money out. So with all of those, with the exception of a cash ISA, the money you have in there will attract interest, not very much probably, but you will pay tax on the interest, income tax on the interest that you get from those accounts. If you've got a significant cash portfolio, say, I don't know, 50,000 quid or more, then you can have a cash portfolio, a collection of different accounts. Maybe you have some money in an instant access, but not very much, a little bit more in a 30-day notice, but the bulk of your money in, say, a 1 or 2 year bond, so that you can get at some money in the short term, but it's unlikely you're going to need to get at a lot of money, so you get a better rate for that money you're not likely to touch by putting it in a long-term bond. So a mixture of the different kinds of accounts might be something which works for you when it comes to savings. The biggest question I get asked though by clients is, how much money should I have in my savings part of my plan? My answer to that is always, you should have enough. Oh, you want more than that? Okay, more detail, right? Well, enough is enough, and it's different for everybody. So I have, for example, seen a client, an elderly client, whose son suggested that he should get some advice as to how best to invest his money, and the son obviously was thinking about a portfolio of stocks and shares or something like that. Well, on speaking with this client, it was clear that for him it was the right thing to do to keep all his money in cash, because he simply would have worried himself to death at the prospect of losing any money on the stock market. So for him, how much money should he have in cash? The answer to that question was all of it, and that might be the case for you. Cash, generally speaking, should just be for short-term money though. If you have a longer-term plan for your money, then cash is usually not the best place, but everybody is different. I'm going to talk about risk in the next video, and that's quite pertinent here. because for the most part bank accounts are tax-free, but because interest rates particularly are so low at the moment, in real terms, because of inflation, the amount of money or the buying power of the money you've got in your account can actually reduce. So they're not quite risk-free, but near as damn it. Short-term money then. So we're talking about saving up maybe for a holiday next year, or a new car in 3 years' time. But we're not talking about saving up for your retirement, or to buy a holiday home in 15 years' time. We're not talking about those longer term goals, we're talking about shorter term goals, less than 5 years ideally. Okay? So whatever is enough for you to enable you to sleep at night, that's how much you should keep in cash. Whatever you think you're going to need in the next 5 years, that's how much you should keep in cash. Whatever your eventualities you think might happen in the next 5 years, that's how much you should keep in cash. Use the different accounts available to get the best rate of interest. Lock up money that you don't think you're going to need for 1 or 2 years. It's starting to rain quite heavily now. But cash, remember, is less than 5 years for the most part. But it's really the overriding factor is whatever you feel comfortable. If you have a large amount of money, don't let any advisor say that it should be invested just because it's a large amount. If you're not comfortable with investing, you keep the money in cash and you tell them I told you so. Those are some principles about saving. Less than 5 years for the most part, in the vast majority of cases. It's pretty much risk-free. Use the different accounts available to get the best rate of interest you can, and think about when you might need to access the different amounts of money. Hope that's helpful. Next time we're going to talk about risk, a massive subject and a really, really important one. So stay tuned and I'll see you next time.